Okay, this is the February 10th, 2020 Extracurricular Committee meeting. Start with a roll call. Introduce. I'm Steve Miller. Others.
Kevin Strobel.
Rob Hurley.
Eileen Schmidt.
Kathy Hayes.
Brad Cooper.
Okay, thank you. Again, we have about 30 minutes and a number of items to get through. We'll get through what we can and probably look to have a meeting again next month. So let's just start off and go down through the list. I put out some items, some suggestions, and Eileen and Rob have added some others. So let's just walk through the list. The first thing I wanted to do was get an update on the winter sports and the status of spring coaches updates. And so,
Yeah, winter sports. We're headed into our second season, our postseason. So currently, bowling is the boys finished 28-10. They grabbed the last slot in counties, tied with Exeter, but had the tiebreakers, so they get the spot over Exeter.
all right, good.
They are currently at Easter's in for individual tournament today and Wednesday. The girls will go Tuesday and Thursday, and then they go to their actual team playoffs after that. Swimming. They go to their Penn League championships this weekend. They have a few really good individual swimmers. Chris Giuliano is probably going to be our next big athlete. His parents were in the other day, and he's narrowed it down to Notre Dame, Virginia, and either Duke or maybe or NC State.
Okay. Yeah, I saw he's at the top time. It's a couple.
Yeah, he's
events.
pretty good. He's pretty good. Now there's also like Santos Senior.
Mm-hmm.
They have a really good relay team, so that could be a state finalist relay team.
Good.
Yeah. If they can pull it together and stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But they got a long way to go. It's like 3-4 weeks away.
Right.
It drags on. Wrestling will go to their sectionals this weekend at Mifflin, and they take one in each weight class. So and then they start to whittle down from their districts the following week, and then they take a week off, and then they go to states.
Okay.
So also, when you're looking at all three of those teams, they'll probably go until at least the second week of March by the time that their states finish.
Okay.
Spring coaches.
Yes.
We were looking good. We're still looking good. We're still looking for an 8th grade baseball coach, and that's something I wasn't expecting because I figured it's baseball, and that should be easy to fill, but it has not been easy. We're still currently looking for a JV softball coach. Our JV coach moved up to be the assistant with the varsity. We have 2 really good candidates. Lost one today to Burke Scotland. And then we are still looking for a distance coach for track for girls. We have 2 candidates right now, and I have a third as a backup. That's a really good one that if we really get into a bind, we're going to be fine.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, our former assistant coach is now playing shortstop and batting cleanup for Villanova. Megan.
Yeah. So that's where our old assistant softball coach went. Which
She's
can't
very
fight
good.
that.
And when you lost to Burke Scotland, was the child one of Burke's Catholic?
No. He's pretty big in the travel circuit in the younger group, and he'll be. It sounds like he's going to kind of be heading up that younger 7th, 8th grade group over at Burke Scotland.
Okay. All right. Next item then is the number of second sport activities. I don't know if you have that number today, or we had changed the fee structure last year and wanted to see if there was an impact on the numbers.
I don't think you're having. We only pulled fall and winter because we didn't want to skew the numbers.
Sure.
Fall and winter last year, high school you had 57, middle school 42. This year we're at 45 and 45. So I don't think the fee structure
really no
is
change.
the challenge as much as in some of the winter sports. We'll drop down a division. And some of the rumors were that you're playing against Reading when the boys basketball, you're playing against Wilson. We dropped down that division, and it's a little more enticing.
Yeah. Basketball was very rough. It's been unfair the past couple of years.
That's a hard division.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And the baseball field update.
Fence has been ordered, should be here next week.
Okay.
And it's a temporary, it's similar to what we had up at softball. Scoreboard, we have two options. I'm going to go look at one tomorrow. Boyertown has a mobile scoreboard that they had used out at lacrosse that they're not going to be using anymore. We're going to go over and take a look at it to see if that would be a better option than to rent one, which we'd have to go down to Virginia to get it.
Okay.
And that would be you have your security deposit, and then it's like $1,800 a month. So if we could get the cheaper version from Boyertown and it works,
Okay.
that would also give us an option in case something snappy somewhere down the line. But I don't know what it looks like. So
Okay.
I'm going to go take a look.
Okay, but it's operational. We think
Yep.
it's operational, and they're not
You
using
pull
it.
it with a golf cart.
Okay.
Certainly probably wouldn't put it all the way out in right field, but we want to put it down the line a little
Sure.
bit.
Okay.
So it's not tiny, but it's also not going to be a monster.
Okay. Good. But you said the fence was like the softball fence.
Yeah, you know how they put the
There's a snow fence, basically.
it's mesh.
Okay.
So it's not the plastic. It's
Okay.
going to be a mesh that's going to, if someone runs into it, it's going to go down a little easier. And that's a good option for the year until they figure out kind of where that optimus will take up.
What was the cost on something like that?
Originally we priced it out at like $1,200 because it's about 636 feet, but then we got it from BSN for like 800. Sometimes BSN will bid stuff
That's
for
actually
us.
less than I anticipated. I thought it would be a lot more for a fence. That's great.
Well, I guess we budgeted a lot more, didn't we? 5,500 or
Yeah.
for the year.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Next item then, wanted to add budget items, softball field and banners. So it's something that you wanted to have added.
You're going to have to go a little bit farther with me on that one.
I thought that was from your email.
I was talking about the banner for the championship banner. We'll be here
Okay.
February 20th.
Okay.
But what I would like to do with all of those banners, and I budgeted this for next year, is replace all of our felt banners, because those banners are about $1,500 a piece. So when you want to go change one, it's pretty costly.
Yeah.
I took some pictures around. When I go around, I think Conrad Weiser has some nice choices in terms of how they do theirs.
Okay.
Schuylkill Valley's are pretty good. This one's got some good ones, and those are much cheaper. Plus, when you change them out, you're changing them out for about $150, not $1,500.
Okay.
So I think we can do the whole thing for about $2,000.
So you're going to budget that.
I did.
Okay. Good. And you had softball field in there too. Was there something on the field or?
Oh, the softball field fence? That's a different kind of fence.
Okay.
So if we're looking to kind of upgrade the fence at softball,
Okay.
I don't know how familiar you are with the travel circuits. Some of you might be a little bit more familiar. There's a little bit harder of a solid plastic fence. That's a breakaway.
Right.
It looks kind of like cattle fencing, right? But it's white, and they use that a lot out on the travel circuits when they're putting multiple fields up.
Right.
It's a classier option.
Sure.
It's a nicer option, and it looks a lot sharper than
Okay.
just putting up a mesh or a snow fence. Now it's a little bit more pricey. Now you're talking about $5,000 to $6,000, but it's a much nicer option.
Okay.
When the kid hits it, it breaks apart, and there's no rebound. You just go right through it. So it's easy to take up and take down. We just need some sandbags to put on the back legs, and we should be good.
Okay.
That's something to look at. I did not budget for that in the next cycle.
How often, like when they break away, they're back up?
Oh yeah, you just go out there and put it back up,
Yeah.
and then you probably have like a styrofoam piece that connects the pieces at the top. So then that's what makes it easy to break away.
Okay. Maybe something to look at. Right? We put more money into the baseball field. We really haven't done anything
Right.
to softball, and it is a little scary, even the temporary fence, because they have the metal posts and the snow fence.
Right.
So
We
there's
definitely don't. We want to get away from the metal posts.
Right. Well, that's
and
what
I'm
we
not a
have.
huge fan
Yeah.
of the snow fence
Right, yeah.
and those posts because
Right.
when you hit it, it doesn't go all the way down.
No,
Like you
that's
kind of
right.
lay in it.
Yep.
And that can be dangerous. So we definitely want to move away. Like the ones that we'll be using, the one that we're using at that we ordered for baseball is a plastic post, and then it breaks away.
Would that be something that we would ask for action on the board for
The softball fence for the white one?
We can.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how long it's going to take to get in.
Oh, it won't. Like, you could have that in like 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's definitely something we need because my understanding is the condition of the other fence is not really
No, not very good.
anyway. And to your point, in regards to the Legion's putting all this money into the baseball field
Right.
down there, I think we have an obligation to try to upgrade our softball field. Where we
I
can.
agree. Yeah, Boyertown really ran into some Title IX issues with they did their baseball field and had to really improve their softball field, and then they had a drainage problem. They're having to redo it again. But
It would be wise to be proactive.
Yes.
If we
Are
can.
we using the Legion fields? Because I thought we were getting away from them because they weren't ready. They were wet.
that's this year.
Right.
But we've been using them, and I think the plan will probably be to go back.
Don't we have better fields here? That we could just take care of ourselves and use them?
Well, I mean, I think we want to keep working with the Legion. I think it's important to
Yeah, I don't mean it that way, but we have fields that are laying and doing nothing.
Yeah, but I agree, but I don't know that they're better fields. The Legion Field has been taken care of. It's where all the regional competition's been, and they were even making further improvements. I think the Legion Field is better, but we do have usable fields.
Yeah.
I think they're just having some, concerns right now temporarily that they're issues that they're working to address. That this is probably not likely that it's going to be addressed this spring.
And it also, I didn't understand why, let's say the Legion decides to get a windfall, $50,000 comes in and they want to redo the fields. How does that affect the school in terms of Title IX? Because we use their field. That one's a disconnect for me completely. Because they spent the money on it, we didn't. It's their field, it's not our field. We use it, so our rent stays the same. It's not like we're spending more money to use the field. I don't understand how that's
It's definitely a gray area.
Right.
In terms of,
Yeah.
I mean, you certainly can't control what the Legion puts into their field.
Right.
And so in that, I think we're definitely in a gray area in terms of.
Yeah, it doesn't mean I don't want to do anything. It's just I don't understand the Title IX tie.
Now, it's just opportunities to try to get around Title IX. You could do that with a football field. Somebody could privately build a football field, and the kids could use it. I mean, I think that's just the slippery slope. I don't think it's cut and dry, but.
Does the more expensive fence last longer?
It will last longer, as long as we take care of it. We need to make sure that we take it up, and when we're mowing, we're not running through it, that type of thing.
I was just asking
Yeah.
because I know those other fences are easily destroyed.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
And so I was
absolutely.
wondering how many times you could replace that compared to
The plastic piece, the plastic fence will last you. It could probably last you 8 years. And if you have a section that's broken, you're just buying one section. Yeah,
instead of where the other one you have. to
right.
buy the whole
You're buying the whole thing.
Okay. Do we want to make a recommendation to add the softball fence?
I would love to.
Okay. Good. You in that agreement, Kevin?
Is that the $5,000 one?
Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't. It's a bad fence now.
It
They
is.
can't play with a bad fence, so.
And we're just going to keep replacing the other one.
Right. Okay.
Sometimes paying more for good quality items.
If you take a look at the safety piece of it too, I think,
Yeah.
instead of having a metal pole sticking out through.
To your point, taking care of it. I think Holders would do a great job taking care of it. I think they're good, but we also should have some accountability that if you hit it or any, you know what I mean. That we are actually taking care of it.
Yep.
Fair enough.
You know that part.
No, it's true. That's right.
And I think they're great guys. I really do. They're awesome.
Okay. The next item, the strength coach position. Something you wanted to have added.
This is something that I've spoken to Mr. Hurley about, and something that I would think I think that would greatly benefit our teams, all of our teams, not just football, but our field hockey. A lot of the coaches that come into my office, one of the things they talk about is a strength and conditioning program for their athletes. It would be, I think some of them, these athletes go off and they work out on their own, or they have their own personal trainer. We have an opportunity right now with the gentleman that's working with the wellness group, Kyle from Splash Fitness, that has the Birdsboro group. He works with the wellness group. He works with the regular students here. He would be interested in coming in, but I also think it's a position that you could open up greatly benefits us both physically, mentally, nutritionally, and it would be a great asset.
Would that be what kind of position would it be? Is full-time, part-time?
I would see that as a 10-month position, 9-month position, 10-month
10 months.
position, because you're going to want him to start in August when the teams start. You know, what Kyle does is technically he writes a 10-week program and then writes an off-season program.
Okay.
And then he also works nutritionally with the kids, and then also mentally with some mental strength.
So you're looking at that as a stipend position?
Looking at it as a stipend, I think and when we look at that, you know, a lot of times when we look at our coaches' stipends, that's like a 3-month position, right? And we want him for a 10-month position.
Would you stipend it in segments like fall, winter, spring, where it could be 3 separate stipends with the same person? Or would you stipend it with just one individual who would be that person?
I would keep one person if we can do that, because I think that the continuity between programs and players moving from program to program is helpful, and to have that one face, I think that would be good.
Would we be able to contract it? Or is it someone you're looking at putting on staff?
I'm not sure the answer to that.
Because if we put it on staff, it'd have to be written into the contract probably. Or we can contract it and just
Well,
be
it
in
would
the
have to
contract
be
with an individual.
similar to what we did when we added the
MOU.
coaching positions last
sports
year.
manager. I think
Yeah.
that's in the contract now.
That's going to be,
It is now, right.
Right,
It would
but
have to be an MOA.
Right, an MOA.
that would be subject to PSERS.
Correct.
Okay.
How do you measure the value of a person like that post the decision to go with somebody? Like, you know, we make a decision to buy something, and then you look back at it later and it was a good purchase or a bad purchase for the following year. How do you measure something like that? Is there a thought process there?
Well, you can certainly
Numbers
measure it by
involved.
numbers,
Right.
right? But I think what your measure is, and this is kind of coming from the college perspective. When you look at that, you're looking at the feedback from the students. Are you getting the same feedback that you are from football that you're getting from field hockey? And that's what you want. How did he help you? And it could be different. It could be different from student to student. I didn't get anything out of this. I didn't get anything out of this position.
Right.
This is what I got out of this position. Because some of those, it's easy to sit there and say, okay, yeah, I went up on my max 50, you know, when I'm squatting, or I got faster from this point A to point B by point whatever the number is. But I think where you find the biggest difference in the weight room and the conditioning piece is up here. Did I get more confident?
Yeah, and
Did I
confidence.
the confidence piece?
And I think the other piece too is, tracking your injuries.
Yeah, that's what I was
The
thinking.
risk
of.
management.
Okay.
You know, has the investment, allowed for us to have reduced our risk of our injuries because of the training programs that this individual is providing. When I say training, not only from a perspective of conditioning and weight training, but also from a nutritional standpoint.
Sure.
And it's important the actual techniques that students are doing in there, and that's where you come up to one. Am I just walking out on that field that first day, and am I ready to start running? You have this training program going into it to get you there, but then the actual techniques in the weight room and out on the field.
No doubt that they get in there and do the wrong thing with
Oh,
weights.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And which is
No doubt about
dangerous.
it. I have a couple holes in my basement walls
Oh, I bet.
that my kids and the guys get down there. As a matter of fact, they're passing one this week.
I think there's a couple of points worth discussing. At first, with the person in the weight room itself, this isn't so much just for football. All of our athletes need benefit.
All the athletes need
Absolutely.
weights. They really do. I mean, there's different aspects of obviously.
And I think what it also does is it allows for creating a fair and equitable use of that space for all of our athletes. Instead of just one over one particular sport versus another.
So is it like the 10-month here, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. here, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. I mean, what kind of hours are you
Yeah,
looking
and
at?
it's something whoever the person would be is something to work out, because obviously you're going to have groups that work out in the morning, you're going to have groups that work out in the afternoon. If you have a trainer that comes in that already has his own business, you have to kind of sort that out.
100%,
Yeah, that's the difficult part. That'll be the difficult part.
I didn't know what you were looking for. I didn't know if it was.
It's kind of the start of a good conversation on how we can really. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
You know,
good.
Nutrition's a big one.
Yeah.
Having somebody in the weight room for them available.
Yeah, yeah,
is another
to
one,
teach
so
them.
they
Yeah,
can actually have
absolutely.
time. Some of these coaches can't make dinner with them.
Right.
And the kids want to go.
Yeah.
There's a whole, right now, and I would envision something like this, not only with the weightlifting part, but there's a whole bunch of science on sports nutrition and eating related right now, and that our coaches aren't familiar with all the researches behind there, and it would help educate them, but also the student athletes in terms of simple things they can do, like eating a complex carbohydrate 1 hour after competition, that make a big difference in terms of performance the next day or the next 2 days down, that kids just aren't aware of.
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea.
So we'll start to formalize that a little more.
Certification, ASCM, NSCA,
Yeah.
for somebody certain
Yes.
ASCM, NSCA.
Absolutely.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the turf replacement update.
We had field turf in to go down and walk the turf last Friday.
Okay.
Obviously, they're going to come back in and do remind me of the study, the buoyancy study.
Basically,
Right?
can we get another year out
Yep.
of this thing, or do we need to?
Or is it too compacted?
Okay.
They'll come in and do that study and see where we are in terms of where that turf is right now. Because we definitely don't want it hard.
Right.
Um,
So the thought is they'll do a study and we'll see if we can get one more year, or we're going to have to make some adjustments to our capital budget.
Right, and they're also going to also take a look at turfing in the rubber, the extended, or actually, sorry, yes, turfing in, or no, they're taking out the extra turf on the end, yes, to add the track, yeah. Because one of our problems with track and track meets is that we only have this end to jump,
Yeah.
right? So it extends out because you're doing long jump, triple jump, high jump, and then pull all at this end,
Right.
and extends the meet out. So if we can take that extra turf up at the other end, we can have 2 areas to jump, and then we're not trying to start a meet at 3 p.m. For the jumpers to get done on time.
So you don't need the turf there. We have turf that wasn't needed.
There's that area. Basically, if you looked at this area down here where it's rubber,
Right.
Where all the jump stuff is,
Yeah.
we had the same thing at the other end.
Yeah.
We just turfed it
Okay. Right.
to use it kind of as a warm-up area, but we have the grass as a warm-up area if we need that.
Right.
Something last year with that whole thing?
No, we didn't. We
Aaron?
talked about it, and we talked about redoing it because apparently when the track was put in, there was something with the position
It doesn't work for, they did something.
for the 100 meter. Yeah, we couldn't actually have like county meets because of the way that it was originally designed.
Track and still things?
I
What?
do not know. I have not.
Was
heard
something
that.
done last year?
I thought for sure.
I know it was talked
I
about.
think-
There's not enough at
Just-
the end.
Runoff.
Yeah.
I don't know that
Didn't they
answer. I
put
will
that
ask
stuff
track
in?
coaches.
Yeah.
Wasn't that part of it? They put that in last year?
I don't think we did anything last year. I really don't.
I can't remember.
I know that we talked about it.
I know we talked about it. It was in the facilities meeting. I had no idea.
Yeah, no, yeah, I thought it was part of the resurfacing. That when we resurface, that's what we need to do because we didn't do it right the first time.
Yeah, that's part of the talk
Right.
when we resurface.
Okay.
'Cause
that's not-
I think, are we running our sprints in the other direction because of that?
Yeah, I don't know if it has something to do with the
Yeah.
runoff at the end and what you need so much meters per to slow down.
That's the case we all
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I haven't seen any of the sprints, but I think we're running them in the opposite direction. Yeah.
I have no idea.
Right, that's something to keep in mind.
I wouldn't know if they were running right to left or left to right. If it was wrong or right. Hey, look at that. They're going really fast.
I doubt that they're running sideways. All right. I've got a couple more minutes here.
So
and
is the turf replacement set for next year potentially then? Is that the thought?
I think that's what it's been
Hoping you
budgeted.
get another year?
Right.
Okay.
That's,
How short are we on that? Do we know?
If we get another year,
If we don't get another year, we need to do it. How short are we? And if we get another year, I
it's
don't
my
think we're
understanding
there.
that it's budgeted for 2 years out.
Is
So
that what
if
it
we
was?
get another
2
year,
years,
yeah,
that's
we'd
what
be
I
on
thought
budget.
too.
Yeah. The Reading Country Club for golf.
Right, so we've always played at Arrowhead, and they're a great partner. But they are limited to what we're able to do there. We only play we play 9 holes. There's no driving range.
Right.
Reading Country Club has come back and said, in fact, it'll be a little bit cheaper. Unlimited driving range, and then we play all of our matches there. From a fiscal standpoint, they're cheaper, and you're playing a full 18, and we have unlimited driving range for coach for his guys to practice, and hopefully we can get some more girls out this year. My concern was we have always had this really great relationship with Arrowhead, and they're a great partner, and we definitely, and coach understands, we don't want to upset anybody in the community by going off, but we also want to give our kids a great opportunity to get better, because he's got Coach Wetz's got a good team.
Good, yeah. I mean, the country club is a golf course, and I never understood why we couldn't. They have an 18-hole course, and why we couldn't use that.
I don't know.
And there used to be a good, nice program. There actually was a nice driving range right across the street that's now a farm. Yeah, it's gone away. So yeah, a driving range and a nice course and less expensive.
Are you talking to Arrowhead about the 18 holes versus not? Or
I think coach's bigger concern is the driving range, because we all know we can go out and you can play 18, but sometimes you need to sit on the driving range, or you need to be able to chip, or you need to be able to putt a million times over and over
I
again.
agree wholeheartedly on all that. My concern was the relationship. So you go to him and say, oh, we're leaving. That's not a, maybe he gives you the driving. Maybe they want you to still do your 18. They give you the 18, and the driving range at Reading is less than. I don't think it's conducive to go to the driving range and then go play golf. I get all that, but I think it's worth having a conversation. That for sure would piss him off, I would think. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there is a driving range over at Blackwood.
I do. I like it. I like both tracks. They're both good tracks. But probably a better solution in one spot.
If we want to talk about pricing and using the 18-hole course, and
I just again,
like I said, Blackwood has a
worried
driving
about the
range.
relationship that you probably should have a conversation. If you're not, just lowest bid, and it's a better solution. It's a no-brainer.
I guess having more conversations with Arrowhead. If you had that with them about responsibilities?
Have not.
I guess we have some time. It's a fall,
It's
summer,
a fall sport.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go do anything before I just wanted, because I'm not, you have to remember, I'm the other side of Berks County, so I'm not on this side of Berks County. Grew up on the other side of Berks County.
The other side is tracks, I get.
So, and knowing the community relations, we just want to make sure that we're not burning any bridges.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's important, just to have those conversations. Let them see what they can do for us.
Okay.
Yeah, they got rid of that driving range.
Yeah, it actually was a private. It was Bob Kramer was a teaching pro, and he was building a really nice facility, and then he left. So, unfortunately, that was a beautiful practice facility.
It is, absolutely. Great.
Okay. A couple items here. I don't know how quickly we got. Well, you had mentioned the softball banner. That's coming in February?
February 20th.
Good. I noticed the old wrestling pads. We had talked about putting them on the gym wall, but the wrestling pads.
Yeah, I'll take, that's my fault.
Okay.
It slipped my mind.
All right, no problem.
Totally slipped my mind.
Just thought maybe for some reason it didn't work.
Yeah, but we need to definitely have that done before boys volleyball starts.
Okay.
So now that we're kind of in this hiatus, there's not too many people in the gym, it might be a good time.
Okay. Huddle, or HUDL.
Huddle is a software that's used by most teams, and a la carte here. Each sport seems to pay for it on its own.
Okay.
It's a software that it allows you to edit video, exchange tape, store. It's one thing here that I guess you take for granted. You just think that they are, like, all coaches are automatically taping their games and doing this, and they're not.
No.
So what we can do is we can use Huddle. All sports can use it. All sports can, depending on what the package is. In fact, we can use it for band. We can use it for theater. It includes a camera for the gym. so we can broadcast and stream anything that goes on in the gym
Oh, good.
on YouTube. So that includes pep rallies, it includes any sort of school activities that we have.
Nice.
I think one of the things that when I was talking to him, and we know some of these students go off, whether they're theater, whether they're band, whether they're athletes, they've got to cut highlight tapes to send those in.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is an opportunity for obviously for the athletes to do that, but you don't realize how important that is for someone in theater to do that.
Sure.
And that's a tough game. I learned that in college in terms of the recruiting process for theater and opera and all
Yeah.
those things,
Nice.
and how cutthroat it can be.
So we have pricing for it, or is it?
Pricing is at $8,000. If we want to bump up to $8,700, what I said 8,000 would be would get everybody the minimum and the assist and the storage. If you want something more, if Coach Flowers wants a sideline package, which adds more things to his, I would say that, and I talked to those coaches, that they would raise that out of their booster account if they want to upgrade into
Okay.
something else. But we would do the minimum.
Okay.
I
Is
have
this
the
something you want to run by
8,700
Scott?
Is that in, is
Make
that
sure
in
it
your
all ties
budget?
into
Is that-
everything?
I put
I
it, it's in the
budgeted for that
budget
in
for
this next round.
2021.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and does Scott,
I haven't talked to Scott about the camera yet, and that was my concern. The cameras, it's just one camera that sits in the middle of your gym.
Yeah.
The question is the connectivity.
Yeah.
Okay.
because
Yeah, to be able to
we don't want our
broadcast, yeah.
extension cords all the way across.
Yeah.
So
so
we'll-
you have to
But we'll
speak
take a
with
look
him.
at that before we do anything.
Yeah.
And how you get it outside, who operates it and all that, and who's responsible for taking it down to the top of the gym?
Camera always stays in the gym. They don't have an outdoor
Can't go
camera yet.
outside.
Yeah, no, the
They don't
camera's
have
in
one
the-
So
yet.
what would Coach Flowers use?
Yeah, so what do we use for outside?
So Coach Flowers or any outdoor sport would film themselves.
I got you.
And then they would
download
load it from
Download
there.
it.
Okay. So that's what you could do. And I know we don't take advantage of video the way that we should.
We
For,
don't.
for like softball, the individual,
we
you could
do not.
download. Perfect. Yeah.
But I know right now we are spending $3,700 individually from the sports paying for
Okay.
themselves.
Okay. All right. I don't know what meeting was scheduled at 6. We've already run over facilities. Okay, so we'll wrap up this meeting. The one other item that I had on here, I think that we didn't get to, was the interview and hiring process. Do we have something documented as far as what we're doing, and if we do?
Yeah, I think we do. I can tell you kind of how it works.
Well, let's be positive. They need to. Unfortunately, we only have a half hour. So if you could get me what you have, give me a copy, and we'll get that on the agenda for next month.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, we have run over a little bit, but it is what time is it? 6:07, and that ends the February extracurricular meeting.